Good morning.
Hey boys.
And morning, guys.
Good morning.
And girls.
Yeah, I was a bit worried you weren't going to...
It always starts with the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's consistency. Special guest today.
Very. Hey?
Jill from Unique, the director of Unique, going to chat to us a little bit about the South African air charter industry. Something we've been hinting on every week, but it'll be nice to get some expert analysis there from you, Jill.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brian is often, hinting at me, Ryan, you're very closely connected to the charter market. Now give us some insight. And I'm like, we're going to have to pull in a professional for this one.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, professional and Ryan don't go together so well.
I know that.
I didn't think it was going to take you long to start having things at me this morning.
Yeah, but we'll get into the charter side a little bit later on. Some local news here, that Interline agreement with Qatar and Airlink, quite interesting.
Yeah, very.
When I first read that, I didn't think much of it. I mean, we see these Interline agreements all the time, but obviously quite a big thing, with Airlink being connected to South African Airways for so long. And obviously that partnership or that relationship was over. What do they owe? 700 million.
Yeah, in that region.
700 million to SA, so that's definitely not going to be a relationship that gets fixed anytime soon. But Airlink joining with probably the biggest airline in the world right now.
Yep.
With Qatar. So meaning you can buy a ticket from Doha to wherever Airlink connects you, which is increasing by the day.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I'm very chuffed about the fact that the privately owned airlines are excelling now. They've got this opportunity that COVID has created, and it's nice to see the guys getting out the gates and doing great work.
We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago to say surely something must be happening in the background.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that
I'm sure
they've done that.
It might have been in the pipeline already though, because Airlink had big plans last year already. They were breaking away from SAA's code share. They were going to start that 4 Zulu flight number in June. Obviously COVID changed things, but expedited the whole process. And maybe this agreement with Qatar was pre-planned, who knows.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been going on for a while. Rogers is a very shrewd businessman, so this was obviously something he had thought about. But I think it'll be a good thing for Airlink and some future growth there. Staying in Africa, so Airlink going to be flying Windhoek Joburg. Fly West Air will be operating Windhoek Joburg and Windhoek Cape Town. That's a Namibian outfit with ERJs. And Comair, the whole deal, still waiting to get a little bit more finality there. I see this financing deadline has been extended again, and they're waiting for the all clear from the Competitions Commission, approval of which expected shortly. We'll see. And other than that, not much else locally. We got the Air Zimbabwe guys here, Brett.
So the guys are very chuffed to be here, and it's good to have them back here. So their fleet is growing. So I think the boys are looking forward to getting back in the air quickly. Airpeace has taken another ERJ as well, so their fleet is growing unbelievably.
I think they got 8 now.
So it's great that they this is the 8th one now. So it's brilliant that they're expanding to such an extent. Look, the demand is there. I mean, the demand is all over the place. Africa, good to see, is opening up. The Airline Association's general meeting was held this week virtually. There was a lot of scathing, feedback from the speakers against African governments. Nobody's working together. All of them are saying,
that's a surprise.
It is.
I never saw that happen.
I was so shocked when I heard this. It was unbelievable. But that's what the problem is. If the guys just work together, It's an African Union. Just make it work. Put one rule in place. Get rid of quarantines. It's not necessary in Africa, and just open it up. I mean, it's
let us get this back to some sort of normal.
Without a doubt, we've got to have some sort of normality there. But nice also to see Ronel Stander and Elmo Conradi as the new chairman and deputy chairman of the association now. So great to see two South Africans.
And two strong leaders there.
Yeah.
So it's nice. That Air Zimbabwe, obviously, they're going to be operating in their ERJ 145 Joburg, Harare, Joburg. So, daily flight.
I met the crew earlier this week. What a nice bunch of guys, eh? They're very jacked up, very
girls.
Professional. Oh, yes, they are. There's girls as well.
The
Keep forgetting
Zimbabweans
girls
are nice
today.
people because
They are.
I'm one.
Oh, you're a Zimbo.
There we go.
Oh.
There you go.
Glad we had good things to say.
Yeah. No, they
Well,
are.
excellent.
Well trained, nice guys, and they're looking forward to operating that route shortly. Ryan, did you pick up any of that 737 MAX news? It was quite interesting, eh?
Been doing quite a bit of reading up on that. The CEO of Ryanair is expecting delivery of this aircraft, or that it'll be in service fairly soon. I see in the States they're going to be, well, they plan to start training pilots from next month. Obviously expecting that it's going to be certified very, very soon.
And Brett, they have changed the name at Ryanair. I think they got your idea. It's not a 73 MAX. It's a 737-8200.
Oh, there we go.
8200.
I love the marketing genius behind that.
Yep.
Okay.
I also just I love the fact that they are pushing now 200 seats on that. What? Not Max? 200.
That's it.
200 seats. 67 seats per toilet.
It's almost as cramped as we are now.
What is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
I mean, talking about squeezing blood from a stone.
Yeah.
That is bad. I'm very glad I didn't fly Ryanair.
I saw something ambitious though in the States where they're planning to train 4,000 pilots on the MAX between November and January 2021.
Well, it depends. I mean, let's look at that. There was a report that came out, the Flight Standardization Board Report Revision 17. Now, this is the proposal for flight training before a pilot can return to the left or the right seat of a 737 MAX.
Yeah.
Right, obviously two big components to the training, and obviously a significant ground training sector. You need training on the stabilizer, speed trim failure training, stab out of trim, unreliable airspeed, altitude and speed disagree training, angle of attack disagree training, dealing with excessive alarms and alerts at the same time, repositioning of certain switches training. Okay, that's just the ground element. Then the simulator component. Now, remember, the whole thing with the MAX was you did not need, or Boeing said you didn't need specialized 737 MAX simulator time. You could go from a 737 NG straight into a MAX. You didn't have to fly a MAX simulator. It was basically a differences. I think it was over sort of like an iPad or CBT sort of training.
Yeah.
But now you require flights in full motion flight simulators, demonstration of the MCAS for the captain and the first officer during an impending or full stall, and recovery demonstration during manual flight in the clean configuration. You got to simulate a runaway stab condition that requires the pilots to use the manual stab trim. A cross FCC trim monitor activation demonstration accomplished by either pilot acting as the pilot flying. Use of the manual stab trim system during approach, go around and level off. Dealing with erroneous high angle of attack on takeoff that leads to an unreliable airspeed situation. Sounds like a fun sim session.
Yeah, look.
Sounds like it's easier to unite the African continent than
Yeah.
to do that.
But it's not so straightforward here because, all right, 2 of those 5 requirements can be achieved in a 737 NG sim. 3 of those, so 3 of those requirements must be in a MAX simulator, of which there aren't many around in the world. Remember, it wasn't a requirement, so there's not many MAX simulators around.
That's why I thought it was fascinating that they're planning to try and train in the States alone 4,000 pilots between November and January. It's very ambitious, but
What is the number, Brett? 40 aircraft saturate a simulator.
Correct.
In a year.
Yeah, 40 aircraft
40 aircraft with full crew will saturate a sim.
saturates a sim. So
Yeah.
obviously the simulator availability is the pace setter for the airlines. Now, I read this, I found this quite interesting. Southwest Airline expects to take at least 2 months, so that's not too long, 2 months, to train its 9,800 pilots. That's not a mistake, 9,800 pilots. That's a proper airline. And it'll be quite interesting to see. And I suppose there's pros and cons to this whole COVID situation. Has I suppose helped Boeing a little bit because there isn't this demand for those aircraft right now. So if the guys can get these pilots trained up in this period, so that when things do pick up, the aircraft and the crew are available, I suppose Boeing would have done quite well out of it.
Yeah.
No doubt they've done well. During lockdown, that's probably what they were doing, building sims. Full idea of what was coming. I wouldn't put it past them.
I agree. I think that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
I want to have a rant. Do you guys want to say anything before I have a
Oh
rant?
no, come
Well,
on, just rant. Just do it.
Yeah.
Have
Go
a
for it.
rant.
Have a rant. I have no doubt that General Jill's going to join you in on it anyway, depending on what you're going to rant about.
Well, it's about an SOE.
Oh.
Have I ever ranted about anything?
Rant away.
It's about ACSA.
Yeah.
So I picked up an article in the Daily Goose magazine. I mean the Daily Maverick magazine. Have you seen what some people have been charged for leaving their cars at the airport in the same parking lot that they usually do for a weekend away in Cape Town? Someone was charged 10,000 Rand.
No.
Someone 3,800 Rand. 60 Rand an hour, right?
How do they justify that?
They
Honestly.
have to be kidding me.
60 Rand an hour.
And the article is a lady came back and she didn't even check, just put her credit card in, and only when it came off that it was 4.8, I think she had paid.
No.
Yeah.
And she went there and they said, no, you were in the wrong parking bay. No indication, no signage, no notification, just typical SOE way of doing things.
And you know what's so irritating? It's not that they just decided this is where those people always park. They go to that parking, leave their car there in the same, go off to Cape Town, come back, and now you charge with us. But why it's like that? These idiots have got level 2 and level 3 undercover parking specified for your pickup and drop off. I think level 2 is drop off, level 3 pickup. Now, when I went to Cape Town a few weeks ago, we kind of expected to be a bit chaotic because things were sort of still opening up.
Yeah.
But my dad traveled last weekend and he says it's exactly the same. Now, you got social distancing, and you don't want to be too close to people, and you want to be outdoors. You don't want to be stuck, in a closed environment. So what do? They stick it in undercover parking and they cram as many people together as you can. It's chaos. It's pathetic. But make it. It's not just about the flight. It's not just about. We're trying to encourage people to travel. We'll make it easy for the people to travel.
Yeah.
ACSA, get on board. It's pathetic.
It's getting on board. No, not going to happen.
But is anybody getting on board at the moment?
It sure as hell doesn't seem like
Doesn't
it.
feel like
No.
it, no.
No.
Well, Jill, tell us a bit about your operation. Obviously, like we said, we've spoken about the charter side, but when you're not involved in it on a daily basis, and we aren't, we're more involved on the pilot airline training side. First of all, tell us about Unique Air and your operation.
Well, from a charter perspective, at the end of the day, when COVID started in March, it turned into chaos for all of us because we rely on international tourism. That's our forte and our business. So without that coming into South Africa, everything stopped dead. So from 26th of March to presently, because we're still not allowed international leisure travel, and there's the ban on all the countries that they've put it on, our company has come to a standstill. So, and private charter is the international tourists coming in, they're paying for it, they want the exclusivity, they're going to the 5-star lodges, and that's what we do. And it can't happen until our country decides to let leisure travel happen again.
And on top of that, Jill, I mean, if you think about it, those passengers, those leisure travelers from those areas that would come in, there would be an even more demand for them to travel on charter right now. They don't want to be in the busy airport. They don't want to be queuing in an ACSA parking lot. They want to travel with someone.
And the
like
funny
you.
thing about it is, worldwide, we are hearing in our marketing sphere that people want to travel. People want to travel again. So if we could just open our borders and unban the countries and stick to protocols, we could maybe start recovering. But at the rate we're going right now, it feels almost like, are we ever going to go back to some sort of normal? Because we've been stopped.
Yeah, basically stop from operating.
We're all trying to stay positive and have our positive attitude, and every time we think, okay, fine, it's going to get to the 1st of September or the 1st of October, and we're going to get there, and we're going to stay positive, and the goalpost keeps getting moved for us, and then it's
I suppose an advantage of when you do open, at least with a charter business, you've got such a range that you can operate in. You got Jonathan, African charter airline, operating 737s. You can operate 737s and much smaller aircraft. So at least you can fit into that.
The nice thing about a charter company, which is what we do, is we have a vast fleet of aircraft available to us, and then we get approached by our agents and we say we've got X amount of people, we want to travel, and we put together the right aircraft and put it all together and do it for them. But we're one small block of the whole puzzle, because in our industry there's a lot of blocks. So it starts with the people arriving, and then our little charter, and then the lodges, and you've got to have all the blocks fitting into each other, and everything has to go perfectly, because now people are paying for exclusivity, and they want the 100% treatment from that.
For sure, and if the people can afford to do it, they should be able to have it. I mean, I did a bit of research, struggled to find any real numbers for Africa or South Africa. I think the last report was 2016 or something like that. So, but if you look at the States alone, that charter industry is a massive industry.
It is a massive industry.
$25 billion. So, and they've expected consistent growth of 1.8%. Now suddenly, we don't quite know where it's going to go, but we know, we spoke about last week, how the private jet charter industry is increased by 38%. I mean, it was massive. So, I understand, obviously your biggest client base, I imagine, would be the States.
Well, it's the States, the UK, and Europe, so...
A lot of Germany as well. The Germans are very keen on coming into South Africa.
They love travelling, and it's just so sad that we can't get to some sort of normal and let our government say, okay, fine, this is like you said, standardise everything. This is the protocol that's required. Come in with your COVID test, you pass, and off we go, and let us try and get back to some sort of normal.
Like you said, it's sad because I read yesterday that the new World Health Organization figures state that the COVID death rate worldwide is only 0.013% of the expected figures. So all of this due to a real balls up in someone's maths. It's causing all this
chaos, and it's the same for all of us in this industry. We're all in the same boat because we all rely on international tourism. We might be lucky enough to pick up a private charter domestically if we have a rich South African that wants to travel, but that doesn't very often happen. 90% of our business, or 99% of our business, is international travel.
One nice little charter doesn't pay the bills.
No, it doesn't. And it definitely doesn't pay the bills when you've been locked down for 7 months, which you thought was going to be 21 days, and then it was extended, and then, we're on over 200 days now.
And the state of emergency has been extended again.
Exactly.
And of course it is.
The thing is, at the end of the day, how long do they expect us to stay in our companies and keep our people paid and employed? And So it's getting very stressful now, because the longer that it goes on, the more stressful it's getting, and we're trying to stay positive, because we have an amazing product to offer South Africa. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know we have an amazing country to offer.
For sure.
So if we can get to 2021, because that's what happened with us, March happened, and fortunately, most of our bookings went over to 2021. People didn't outright cancel and say, well, I'm not traveling now. They shifted all over to 2021. So we just have to get to 2021.
So at this stage, 2021 looks like it's going to be a good year, provided things open up.
Provided things open up. We'll have a very positive, booming year.
Yeah, for sure, without it. And all that catch-up should happen. Look, it will happen as soon as things open up. I don't understand the differentiation between business and leisure, because if you're traveling leisure and I'm
trying to understand
kids,
that as well.
I'm going to be more cautious. If I'm traveling business, whatever, it's just me.
But how many travelers don't actually combine the two? Most business travelers will extend their business travel by a few days to include a few leisure days anyway.
They do.
So
it's just another pathetic decision.
Yeah.
I mean,
stuff, man.
Just to hop on there, what you said, Ryan. I mean, that figure, I saw IATA was broadcasting.
Yes.
1.2 billion passengers have travelled since the start of 2020, with 44 cases confirmed. That were, these cases were probably from potential transmission in the aircraft. 44 cases. So that's 1 in 27 million.
Yes. Yeah.
1 in 27 million. It's a joke, man.
Yeah.
It's a flipping joke. 1.5 million people in the aviation industry have either been laid off or lost their jobs properly. So this is a joke, man.
I just don't know at what point is someone in power going to say, listen, we have to put an end to this, and the world needs to
get back to some sort of normal.
Yeah.
We have to try and get back to some sort of normal. That is going to take a few years, because what we've lost in the last 7 months is going to take us a while to try and recover.
It's going to take a long time to recover.
I mean, to put a figure to that as well, I saw just in the airline industry in South Africa, this time last year we had 1.3 million passengers flying a month. We're down to obviously less than about 380,000 passengers a month flying now. Still higher numbers than you would expect, but I mean, that's over 1 million passengers a month lost in South Africa alone.
Last year, 2019, in the charter industry, it was a sort of okay year, because obviously Rugby World Cup happened. So then you see your passengers would rather go to Japan to watch Rugby World Cup than come to South Africa for holiday. So we thought, that's fine. We're going to get to 2020. We're going to have an amazing year. And we got into January and everything was good, and our bookings were good, and we're all positive, and got to March and it just went
everything stopped.
Everything stopped. So,
and I suppose
hopefully 2021, when we get to 21, we'll go into January thinking, yay, it's going to be a positive year, and we better not have a COVID wave too.
And I suppose
sorry.
No, just saying, it's not just the opening up and starting up, because a lot of those clients that you had, their businesses still have to be running and operating for them to actually afford to even come here and travel.
There are so many pieces of a puzzle that is put together in our industry, because it starts with the family deciding they're going to travel, so they decide where they go, they want to do, and then they don't come to South Africa and just go to one part. They'll maybe arrive, go to Kruger, from Kruger go to Cape Town, or wherever else they want to see in the country. So there's lots of puzzles to put together, and it takes us sometimes many months to put that stuff all together. So we've got all the puzzles, and the people arrive, and it's complicated, and so many people are affected in one travel itinerary.
Yeah, one booking.
One booking. Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about the hospitality industry, and it goes all the way there. I mean, if your lodges are not open because they've got no clients, then there's no charters there. I mean, the ripple effect.
The ripple effect is insane. Yeah. It compacts all of us so airline, charter, car hire, lodges, hotels, and also all the little guys that do all the adventure adventure things that people do when they come to South Africa.
Sure.
Yeah, you almost
I mean,
tend to forget about that. I
You,
mean, you just
you get to Cape Town, and the big thing in Cape Town is shark diving, and all those little companies who rely on international tourism. I mean, we're all suffering. So
The concerning thing is that if you look at the States, with the private charters shooting through the roof, accommodation is booming over there. The food industry is booming. So this is they're talking about how many people have got COVID and been infected there, but we can't look at those numbers in relation to South Africa. That's a 380 million.
that's what I keep on questioning as well.
Citizen,
It's
yeah.
like they're 3 times the size of us,
Yeah.
and they're trying to get on with life.
And they are getting on
They are
with
getting
life.
on.
And there's a lot of threats. There's a lot of talks. Biden stating that if he gets nominated, he's shutting the states down.
Sleepy Joe.
permanently. I mean, it's going to be the sleepy states. I mean,
Is he going to become like somebody who shut us all down?
he's going to shut everyone down.
No, it's.
And if you don't shut down, he's going to bomb us. So,
You'll forget there's a virus.
It's so sad to, I completely agree with having the tests, and we're all excited to be able to wear the masks so that nobody breathes all over us, and keep all the protocols, but let us get back to some sort of normal. We have to have that. If we don't have that, we are headed towards dire situation.
Yeah, no,
So-
the real pandemic is still
and,
coming, and that's the
yeah,
economic one.
we're all
So
trying to stay positive, and we
Yeah.
are, because positive brings positive.
No,
So
for sure.
I keep on telling everybody that's around me, I'm going to stay positive because positive brings positive.
For
And
sure.
we're going to get there, and we're going to get to 2021 because I can see it coming closer and closer now. So I just have to go over the bridge to 2021 and let's have a positive year.
Well, I love that.
So-
And I just think everyone needs to have
Yeah.
the same attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, how long have
Despite
you
the
had
fact that sometimes you feel like, well, today I'm going to have a meltdown, and then you'll get on the phone
It's okay,
and
you
you'll
can have a meltdown
you'll-
and be positive
yeah,
afterwards.
yes.
You got through the meltdown too. So,
So you just feel like you're going to have a little meltdown, and then you get on the phone and you have a little chat, and you pick yourself up, and
Or you listen
Yeah.
to the Brown Air podcast.
Or you
yeah,
listen to the
exactly.
Brian-
That's your
and-
major
Yeah.
picker upper.
It is. You guys are. It's positive brings positive, and all that you have been through with how you were let down by your airline. It's amazing to see you stayed positive.
Yeah,
So
no, we're quite proud of ourselves for
positive
that.
brings positive.
I've seen the meltdowns. Oh man, it's just been a nightmare.
No, it's more Brian that
Yeah, but the podcast has helped because you're also forced to look for the positive angle, and every story there's a positive aspect to it. I mean,
Yes.
and even listening to you talking, Jill, I mean, you've had a lot of competitors here in South Africa over the years, and they've taken charters away from you. And what COVID has done for the airlines, it's got rid of all the scrap. We've seen it here locally. It has. And
Yeah.
you're a proper charter company. You've got a proper AOC. You do everything properly. And that's not the case for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And those operators will be gone. So yeah, there might be less flights coming in or less people willing to take a charter, but there'll be less operators as well to snap those up. So there's always
So that's why we have to stay positive
Yeah.
and get to. And it's not easy. It's this year has not been easy, and it hasn't been easy for any of us in the tourism industry.
No, I'm sure.
So you can't just 1 minute be operating and the next minute everything just be taken away from you. You guys will know and understand that.
Yeah.
But we strategized, pulled ourselves in, saw what we could do to extend and extend. But we are going to get
Well,
there.
you've extended a long time, and you're still here.
We are going to get there, and we are going because we have a lot to offer. We have
Yeah.
a lot to offer. Our country has a lot to offer, and
Well, as countries go from
Yeah.
a charter side, I mean, that's why charter plays such a big role in South Africa or in Africa. It's because of what we have to offer.
it is.
It's an amazing country to see. And I think going to one of these 5-star game lodges in a King Air 200 for a week, and then having that King Air 200 pick you up and take you back to Lanseria or wherever, that must be one of the
most awesome
trips
experiences.
on anyone's bucket list. So, and it will remain that way.
And you know,
Remain that
time is so important to the people that come in, because the reason why they use us as a charter is because they're at a 5-star lodge in Kruger, and then they don't want to have to fly back to Joburg, wait 2 hours, connect to the... Okay, we have the exclusive people in charters that will pay to then fly to each destination, but it's definitely a time factor.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is very nice. Stop, pick you up, take you directly to where you want to go.
Have you guys been working together at all, Jill? I mean, you know, we said already, Africa's not exactly working together from a country perspective, but, you know, all the charter operators and the travel agents and that,
you see, because in the charter industry in South Africa, we definitely do work together, but we, you know, I might have specific people that I work with, and the next company might have another, you know, so we have our little clique and we work together, and because we have our own AOC, but we might not have all the aircraft that is required for any specific charter. So yes, we come together, we work together, we'll put our charter together with the aircraft that's required and get it going. So from a perspective of charter, we're all in the same boat right now. We are all you know, struggling without international tourism.
Sure.
But that's why we've said it on the show before as well. I imagine that, you know, a certain amount of cohesiveness between the charter companies is going to benefit you all going forward, coming out of this, because you know, it's a cutthroat industry as it is.
It is a very cutthroat industry.
Why step on each other's throats per se? You know, work together and make this thing.
Yeah, we're all trying to get the
again.
same business, but you know, if you take, for instance, I've been in aviation for 25 years, so it also goes with you know, you have your specific DMCs that you work with because there's a matter of trust, and so. Yeah,
the charter side requires, I mean, my dad was involved in it for a long time. I mean, he was permanently on the phone. Logistics, Jill. I mean, are crazy. You're always arranging
something. You've got to be 24/7 available.
Yeah.
Because just remember, we're on this time and America's on this time, and you know, there's all these different time zones, and being available and being at the other end of the line when they want to speak to you is paramount to your company being successful.
Yeah.
So.
I've seen them in action when they were at their peak, and it was impressive to watch this team work. I mean, they used to make an airline look Mickey Mouse with the way they run.
How do you? What airline are you talking about?
And I'm comparing an airline
are you comparing
that
to
I used to maybe work for. But yeah, you guys have a slick operation, and it'll be nice to see you guys back in full swing very soon.
And you will be, and we are to support you
There we go.
All the way.
Sure.
You got the backing of the Brian.
And when the Brian Air podcast says things are going to open up, things will open up.
Yeah.
No, we stay positive.
Well, Jill, it was nice to chat to you,
Thank
and you're
you.
welcome anytime.
Thank you.
We'll leave all the details for Unique Air in the show notes. Contact Jill and her team, and they'll sort you out.
Thank you.
Guys,
Definitely
Yeah.
will. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill.
Thanks so
you.
Good
much.
to have you here.
Thank
Really
you.
good.
the Friday show, episode
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
It's
It's over
done.
so quickly, man.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have a first-class Parrock on the show.
Yeah.
First time.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend,
Thank
and
you.
thanks for all the support. Don't forget to subscribe, please. The subscription's mean a lot to us. Pass it on, friends, family, and see how many likes and follows and comments we can get this week.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Have a good
Cheers.
one.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for listening and for your continued support. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and pass the show on to your friends, your families, and your colleagues. If you'd like to get in touch with us, my email address is in the show details. Stay positive, keep the passion alive, and we'll see you next week. Cheers for now.